Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm sure we've all been in that position before where we first meet that girl and we hit it off, and then you think that she is absolutely perfect and she's the one for you, and you don't know how to describe it, but like you have this certain attraction that can't be broken, you know what I mean? We've all been there. It's only human nature. I mean, it happens. But the question is why? Why do we do this? Now, there's something that our minds do. It's called infatuation. Now, what this is, it is your mind tricking you into thinking that something is perfect or better than it really is. Now, you'll see a lot of times this will happen with couples that, just got together, or people who just met. Sometimes I'm like scrolling through Instagram and I see like a couple take a picture together and it says like he or she is absolutely perfect. And you see that word perfect used a lot. And that's because that's what infatuation is. Like, they think that that person has literally nothing wrong with them, and everything they do and say is perfect. When really that's not the case, because they're just a normal human being like everyone else. But it's interesting that our minds do this. So in case this isn't too clear for you, I'm going to give you a little example. So let's say you're going out to buy a new car at a car dealership, right? And you see, just picture your dream car in your mind right now. Now, just assume you have the money for it. So you test out the car, and right when you open the door, you get that fresh new car smell. And on the outside of the car, it's spotless clean. The inside of the car, it's immaculate. Literally, there's no dirt in there, and it looks absolutely like incredible. You just want to buy it right there. And you sit down in the car, the seat's real comfy, and you start the engine, and it just purrs, and then you start to move the wheel a little bit, and the tires are so smooth. Now, at this point, the salesman would usually ask you if you like it, because they want you to say yes, so your mind will want to say yes to buy it. So would they let you take it for a ride? And when you're riding down the street, it's just like rolling like a dream. There's nothing wrong with it. It's like the engine is so quiet, and it's just such a smooth and nice ride. And then you get back, and then he'll ask you if you want to buy it again. If that's the decision that you have to make. But it's influenced by all of the things that you just experienced. Not necessarily, you're not thinking about the bad things that could happen in the future. Like, let's say your car breaks down the middle of the road somehow. Maybe a tire pops, or your windshield starts to get dirty. It doesn't have to break down, but it starts to get less than it once was. Like, the seats start to wear down. The seats start to wear down a little bit. The floor gets a little bit dirty, just things like that would make the car less than it was when you bought it. That's like, you're not going to test drive a car like that at a dealership unless it's a used car, of course. But if it's a new car, it's not going to have like any imperfections that are visible on the spot. It's not going to have a broken windshield or anything like that. That's just not how it works. And at this point, you'd be really inclined to buy it because you don't see anything wrong with it on the surface. But what you're not thinking about is the problems that could appear ahead. But see, that's out of your mind. So you are going to be really, really inclined to buy it. Now, if that example wasn't clear enough, I have one more example. And that would be like, we've all done this. When you see an ad for like a burger, and it looks like, you've seen an ad for a Big Mac, right? It's like stacked. It's like real stacked high. And it just looks like really, really appetizing. But if you get one in real life, it's sort of smushed down. It's not as, the picture makes it look really, really colorful, but when you get the sandwich, it's not really what it looks like on the picture at all. They spent a lot of time on that picture trying to clean it up, make it look as perfect as possible, because when you see it, that's what you think you're going to get. You're not thinking about what the Big Mac actually looks like. When you're physically looking at that picture, that's what you think you're going to be getting if you buy that product. Now, infatuation doesn't always have to do with material things. I think it's most prominent with couples who are either just first started dating or they first started talking, or it even happens with not like old couples like old people, but like, couples that have been dating for 1+ years. So to help tie this all in, I talked to my friend who's also a YouTuber. His name's Austin, or Last Mystic. I'll leave his link down below in the description. You can go check him out if you want to. But he told me his story when he moved down to Florida, and it really helps us tie this in well now. I have the permission from him to tell the story in detail, so I'm going to tell as much detail as I can. I may leave just a few things out, just for, the other person's sake. but I will tell the story, and hopefully that'll help tie it in so you can realize, what's going on here. So one day while Austin and his stepbrother were taking a walk, they saw this girl walking down the street that lived in their neighborhood. So this girl was more of his stepbrother's age, so he let his stepbrother talk to her. And it turned out that girl had a friend that was more of Austin's age, so he got her number, and they started talking. And this was when Austin was going to come back up to my state for a few days to visit me, just we're going to hang out and stuff. And that was right when they started talking. So he started talking to her, and he was finding things out about her, like what her interests are, what she likes. And he was texting me about this stuff, and he was texting me how great she is, and we like the same type of music. And I remember talking to him one day, and at one point he called her the one, he said that she could be the one. Now that could have very well been possible, but it seemed unlikely because they had never met in person. And really, it just seemed like he was getting a little too far ahead of himself. I didn't say anything because he was happy, and I like to see him happy, so I kept my mouth shut. And this is before that they had even met in real life. So they had each other's number, but they haven't actually seen each other in real life. Because while she did sound great and have a great personality that really goes with him, I didn't want him to be heartbroken when he finds out that she isn't who he thought she was. I just really warned him to be careful and not let yourself get too attached too early, and just make your judgments, after you guys actually sit down and talk face to face. So just shortly after, he went down to Florida, and they started hanging out in real life. And from what I know, he would text me, and he would say, I would ask how it's going, and he would say, everything's going good. And I was like, great. And they had really similar interests, and they really seemed to be compatible together. So it seemed like everything was pretty much perfect then, right? But actually the opposite was the case. See, this is what happened. He and I both noticed that fairly early she had some pretty obvious attachment issues. What I mean by that is she would often post on social media, be Instagram or whatever, often she would post a lot of things saying that she doesn't like being single and that she wishes she had a relationship. And so he and I both got the impression that she was obviously looking for a relationship. So I told Austin, go for it. You're in the clear. This is like a green light. Because at this point, he was interested in trying to start something up with her. So I said go for it because she'd given all sorts of signs that she's looking for this type of thing. So he did tell her how he felt, and she said that the feeling wasn't exactly mutual. She liked him as a friend, but it could sort of develop into a relationship if he worked at it. Now, I thought that was kind of odd. If you were going to be in a relationship with someone that you have to work at to like you, I thought that was not right. I told him that seems bad. It seems like a sticky situation that you should probably leave yourself out of. But he wanted to continue it, and I just said, all right, go for it, and I'll try to help you along the way. And then more problems started to happen. She would often talk about this one guy. I will call him Jay for the sake of the story. So she would often in conversation for pretty much no reason just bring up this Jay guy. It would make Austin mad because obviously it'd make him mad if she's talking about another guy to him while they're trying to have a conversation, because that would get annoying. I know that. It really would be an annoying thing to deal with. So some time passed, and I said, Austin, really, you need to figure out how she feels, or this is just going to get worse, and these problems are going to become more often, and they're just going to get worse, and you're going to be trapped in this stupid game. So he did tell her how he felt again, and see, we were mistaken. When we said that she was looking for a relationship, it wasn't really the case. She was just looking for a friend, which, threw us both off, and that is sort of what happened to him. And even after all that, she still continued to take advantage of him. One time, I think this is the story, I think this is how it went. She lost her dog at, I think it was 4 in the morning, and then she called Austin to go and get it for her. And he walked 2 miles, I believe, to get her dog, and he left without so much as a thank you. So I think that really set him off. He told me about that, and I was pretty mad for him too, because that's a really messed up thing to do. So he pretty much said, I'm done with this stupid game, I can't do this anymore. I'm not just going to be part of this anymore. I said, that's good. Just get out of that. It's what's best for you. You're going to leave your stress behind. And that's pretty much what ended up happening. is that they just sort of, he realized that he was being taken advantage of too much, and he just sort of broke it off. And that just goes to show how much his opinion changed from when he first met her till the end of that situation. It was pretty much like polar opposite, you know, hot and cold. It was a very flip-flop situation, and that is sort of what happens with infatuation. Now, I would be a liar if I sat here and told you that this never happens to me, because it does. You know, it's actually a good example of this is iPhone commercials. You've seen the iPhone commercials. For some reason, that phone looks, they do something to it, and it makes it look like different than what an actual iPhone looks like when you're holding it. I don't know what it is, but I think you know what I'm talking about. Like, the iPhone looks like immaculate. It's weird. It's weird to think about, but you know what I'm talking about. I'm sitting here looking at my phone right now, my iPhone, and it doesn't look like the ones I see in the commercials. I don't know, it's just different, but I digress. See, I expect infatuation to happen to everybody because, like I said, it's only human nature. It's inevitably going to happen to you at one point or another. But the best thing you can do is just really be aware of it when it's happening, and know that nothing stays perfect forever, no matter what it might be. So next time you're scrolling on Instagram and you see those couples posting pictures together, calling each other perfect, you know what's going on. So anyway, guys, I spent a lot of time on this video, so if you could just drop this a like, that would be amazing. It would really help me out a ton. And subscribe if you haven't, because I'll be posting videos like this every so often. So anyway, without further ado, I'll see you guys on another video.